Okay, making this video today to compare the Chinese knockoff and the American-made Grr-ripper. I ordered this Chinese knockoff from eBay, and it was supposed to be the Grr-ripper. Had pictures of the Grr-ripper, it said made in the USA, and instead I got this product from China with Chinese directions. All the directions are in Chinese. It did come with a little Allen wrench here, a nice little Allen wrench, and this little trail hook thing to catch your wood. Here's the first thing I did notice, though, is that you notice in the green spots, 1, 2, 3, 4 places it goes up into the yellow to catch there. Otherwise, just the bottom is glued on. And on the actual gripper, it has numerous notches where it's glued into the yellow part of this plastic, whatever this material is here. So I got this unit yesterday. I already had the gripper, bought a couple accessory packages for it, including the 1/8 inch one. And I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, well, hell, this is the exact same thing as the gripper. Although the gripper does have a US patent number on it right there, but not on the sticker, which is cheap. The sticker's cheap. I don't know why they use a sticker when the Chinese brand has this embedded nice label in there. If I was the gripper, you might want to invest in something like that, a little bit nicer of a label that doesn't just come off. Anyways, the handle, I measured and compared the slots, the heights. Everything matches up perfectly, which means I could interchange these handles. I could use this handle bridge that I bought and put on here on this unit. But that's probably the only thing that's interchangeable would be the handle bridge. Because I tried to put the 1/8 inch one on here, and I said, well, because the gripper has those 2 holes in the center there, for the 2 holes on the 1/8 inch bridge, these plugs to fit into, I said, well, I could just drill holes in there. No problem. If I mess up the holes, no big deal, because I can still use the push block. But as you see, those brass inserts are in there a ways. They're not up flush with the plastic. And you look at the gripper, the brass inserts are flush. So I'm thinking, well, that's not a big deal, really. But then you notice the sizes are different. All the screws on the gripper, well, all the little screws for most of the attachments are a 10 with a 32 thread count. So they're number 10 screws with 32 thread count. And all of the gripper parts have these little indentations in the plastic to hold the rubber grommet in there to keep your screws from falling out, which is a nice touch, but not completely necessary. None of these on this unit has that, but it wouldn't matter if it fit on there, since they're in the attachment themselves and not into that. But anyways, so the screw sizes are different. And here's an example. So nothing's interchangeable on this except for maybe the handle bridge. Here's the differences in the screw size. This is a 10, and I believe this is like a number 5 metric. So these are bigger. So the brass inserts are set back farther. See, we need a longer screw, and they're a bigger screw as well. Really, though, it's not a bad unit. It's a complete copy of the gripper. I mean, everything's copied of it except for these, they use different screws. Also, on a lot of the attachments for the gripper, you have these plastic, or whatever this material is, like on this center part there. It has a green plastic piece with a brass insert that this screws into. The bridge handle has these oval shaped metal units that the screws into. Everything on this unit uses the bolts, or excuse me, the nuts, which are on the gripper as well in a couple places. Where did I see those nuts at? There are nuts on here. I put something on here, maybe I took it off, I don't know, but there are nuts. Something on the gripper took, oh, no, under the handle itself, on the handle bridge, yes. Under the handle itself, on the handle bridge, you have the nuts. This, everything attached to it is going to be with the nuts. The tail piece there, the I don't know, 1-inch piece that slides back and forth is that, has the nuts, which isn't a big deal again, except they're all the wrong size. So I'm guessing if I got, anyways, you can buy the gripper for about, I think the lowest price I just checked on eBay is like $55 free delivery. The cheapest one of these is $47 plus $2.99, $1.99 shipping, $49. It's like an $8, $7 or $8 difference. And you could just have the gripper. And then you can get attachments for the gripper like I did. I got several attachments. I got this the upgrade kit. And this tail piece, they tell you on YouTube that this is just a template to use, and you should make wood ones because more than likely you're going to have to rip through them to keep something held in place. So you only get one of these really small, which would be a little bit harder to make depending what kind of equipment you have. Tail piece. You know, overall, this isn't a bad unit, you know, but I would pay $20 for this, simply because this is all it's going to ever be, is right here. You can't upgrade this. If you could upgrade it with gripper parts, I would still just get the gripper. For the difference in the price, made in China, with all these different metric screws, you know, I don't particularly like the Allen wrench idea. And let me see here. This was an issue too. See how those brass inserts come out past that? I think that's a 1/4 inch. Whatever they call these on the side there. So you got these inserts in there that are sticking out of the plastic a good, I don't know, 1/2 inch. And it's not like that on the gripper. It's all flat in there. Nothing sticking out. The brass inserts are always flush. The rubber, the grabbing part, the green, is put on much better. Many more places this attaches. Using number 10, 32 threads. Phillips head screwdriver. Also has all those indentations for these rubber grommets to keep your nuts and bolts and washers on tight so you don't have to constantly hunt those down or lose them. So for, I don't know, $7 or $8 difference, I'd advise to get the gripper. And now, like I said, this is not a bad unit. It's an okay unit, but really it's just a simple unit which you can use for just this purposes. You know, I'll tell you, having those things sticking out that far, you're really going to have to watch the height of your blade that you don't hit those. You hit one of those, this thing's ruined, and you can't get a replacement part for it. I don't think. Well, you could probably use the holes line up on each one of these pieces. I could put this on this one using the gripper screws. I mean, that's interchangeable. All these holes line up, the slots line up, but the screws are different sizes. I'm thinking I could probably put a gripper. No, I couldn't, because I'd have to drill out the screw holes. So you screw up once on this, you're never going to find a replacement part. One thing I do know about the gripper is that there's all kinds of parts for this. And really, it's really not that much more expensive than a Chinese knockoff. If they were selling these for 20 bucks, I'd get a couple of them. But they're almost just as expensive as the gripper. And you know, if you want directions, I'm sure you could look on YouTube and follow directions for the gripper, since they have so many different YouTube videos up there. They're all in Chinese. So anyways, that's my take on that. I bought the gripper, haven't used it yet. I'm not a professional woodworker. I have my tools and saws and everything in the garage, and I pull them all outside to work. And it's cold outside, so I'm not doing any work. But when it gets warmed up, I'll be able to do some work out there. I am definitely not a professional woodworker. I'm a complete amateur who's just learning along the way. But, you know, without using the gripper or this eighth inch or this 1/4 inch, I've cut pieces of wood 1/8 inch, 1/4 inch, just using push blocks and push sticks and being really careful. Sort of a pain in the ass, but I've done it. It's not that big of a deal. But I'm hoping that if I learn how to use this gripper properly, it's going to make it a lot easier. I'm convinced it will. And, you know, if you're not a woodworker like me and you look at something like this gripper, you're like, what the hell is this thing? How is this supposed to work? It looks very difficult. But in reality, it's probably pretty simple. Instead of this, I'll just buy another push block. I'm returning this. This is supposed to be the gripper. They had the picture of the gripper. It said made in the USA, so this is going back. And I was looking on YouTube for, you know, the differences between the Chinese knockoff or the clone compared to the gripper. Nothing. And as a matter of fact, it looks like eBay won't sell any other brand but the gripper. I did find one of these for sale. It said high quality. It doesn't say, it's not advertised as a gripper, but I only saw one on eBay, and it was $47 plus $2 shipping, so about 49 bucks, and I can get one of these delivered for $56 from eBay with free shipping. So there's no way that I'm going to keep this Chinese knockoff when I can just get the gripper and everything's going to fit if I need an extra part for it. They sell all kinds of different legs for it, so you can replace them if you ruin them. It's not going to happen with this unit unless you make massive, you know, adjustments and, you know, these brass inserts. Nothing's going to fit right if you try to get the gripper and put it on there, except for the handle. The handle will work. I guess these would work in the gripper too, since they slide in there. All, like I said, everything lines up. Even the holes for this 1/4 inch or 1/2 inch, whatever these are, everything lines up perfectly. Everything does. Except different size screws. And they don't have, I don't know what the hell I'm trying to say. All I know is don't buy the Chinese knockoff when you can get the gripper. And if you do a little shopping around, you know, you can get it for 55, 56 bucks. You don't have to spend hundreds of dollars. I bought this unit. It cost me like $52 or something like that. Then I bought these upgrade kits off of Amazon. And I still think I made out better than just buying all these units as one. I don't know if I did or not, but it seemed like I got a pretty good deal on all these. So anyways, that is it. Hey, I'm trying to start a small business here, or let's put it this way, I want to get paid for making these damn videos. I don't know how much they pay you, but you need 1,000 followers. It used to be 200, and I completely ignored trying to get any monetization off of YouTube because I don't want ads in my anything that I put up there. I have, I don't know, 300 different comedy sketches up there and other videos where I do things. So I'm asking you to subscribe. I'm sorry, but I'm asking you to subscribe. I need 1,000 subscribers so I can get monetization, and I will put up more videos as I go along. I got let's see, what do I have? I'll show you what I have out here, that I'll show you what I'm working with. And if you're a complete amateur, I'll be talking your language because I don't know the language of woodworking. All I know is what I see on eBay, because I usually look on there to try to find out how to do something or read the directions myself. I got this unit, this radial arm saw. Bought it for 50 bucks off of Craigslist. Thing was like brand new. Came with a attachment for the vacuum. I just leave it off because, like I said, I do all my work outside. Right now it's just holding a few things. I got several table saws. I got this cheap router table. I got this little tiny Craftsman table saw, which I use sometimes. And I got my big table saw down here, which I bought off Craigslist for 100 bucks, which is a pretty nice unit. I've tuned it up and I've gotten different parts for the fence, so it's a nice tight fence, but I still check my measurements. And I got this old Craftsman bandsaw, which I use quite regularly, which comes in really handy for cutting out those inserts if you're doing for dowels and things like that. And I got this cheap little Delta drill press. Anyway, I got lots of tools I'll be using and putting them up here on YouTube, trying to make some money so I can get paid. I got so many tools. I got biscuit makers I never use. I have grinders, blah blah blah. I got that chops up there I don't use. That's why I got the radial arm saw. I find that cuts much bigger wood. I can do about, I don't know, 13, 14 inches on that thing. Plus it does all kinds of other things too, but basically all I do is use it as a chop saw, straight across, cut the wood. I use routers, router bits, grinders, you name it, I got it. And I got into this woodwork for one reason. For several years I was rebuilding Hickok tube cases, because I rebuilt tube testers. Back in the 70s, I was a young kid, and I worked at my father and uncle's shop, and they were a certified repair and warranty for Hickok tube testers. And every time one came in, they'd give it to me to work on. So I learned how to calibrate. I learned a lot. I've repaired meters. I've also replaced meters years ago. But back then, they didn't have the printers and different things you needed to make it easier to replace meters. So anyways, rebuilding these Hickok tube testers became a huge pain in the ass. And I said, well, I should just build them. It'd be easier. I'd spend less time if I just built the case rather than trying to get out all those damn rivets. So that's why I started doing woodworking. Found out I enjoyed it. I got lots of tube testers. I got parts for tube testers. That one over there on the right, this one here, this is a 752A that I rebuilt it. But that's one of the new cases I made. Much nicer than trying to rebuild one of these by taking all that old leatherette off and all those rivets that are punched into the wood. Very difficult to get out. And then you're left with a 3/8 inch piece of plywood that you'll be lucky if it holds up. Although I did, I did a couple dovetailed cases, which just don't seem to be worth the time because you you don't really see the dovetail if you paint it. So I dyed it. It took a long time. It was a beautiful case, but it just doesn't seem worth it. I got a couple of 800A, 6000, TV7. Wait a minute. This is my TV10D. Down here is my Hickok 752A. Yeah, the case is bigger. I use a 750, that one right there in the original case. I like the 750. Anyways, so if you want to watch anything I do or have any suggestions, you want to see me using something, I'll be testing some tubes, trying to make some money. So why don't you subscribe and help this poor guy out who knows nothing about woodworking, and I'll see if I can't show you the mistakes I made. First mistake, don't buy a Chinese gripper.